We did it. We did it. We did it. First time in 13 games, the Carolina Panthers have defeated someone away from Bank of America Stadium. And here we are back. The Donnie and Anthony show. Donnie, Anthony, the DNA show, because that black and blue runs right through our veins. You cut right here, black and blue. So it comes out no red. Hey, we're back again, man. And we went all the way to the West Coast. Played at 4 o'clock on the East Coast. A game where we faced a winning team, a good winning team. Geno Smith and the boys, all the way in Seattle, in that very loud stadium. Carolina Panthers at Seattle Seahawks. Man, first thoughts, Donnie. The Carolina Panthers look the best they have all year, as you said before we went on air.
Bro, best we've looked all year, man. Today was a complete football team. From special teams to the offensive side of the ball to the defensive side of the ball. Our offensive line blocked so damn good for the run. I think all three run backs ran the ball really well.
Yeah.
Um, Man, it just Sam Darnold's like the best he has since week 3 of that Dallas game. I think
Oh
no
yeah.
week 4.
Yeah.
That was last week, somewhat decent.
Yeah.
So he played exceptionally well today. Took care of the ball, but man, this entire football team, not only do I give all the credit, well, I give all the credit and all the glory to Jesus. Um,
For
but I
sure.
think Jesus sent us Steve Wilkes as well, man. Because ever since he's put that damn headset on, man, things have changed, man. The demeanor, the culture, the intensity, finishing these games as best as we could with the very strange quarterback situation. Man, this is a very man, just a lot of missed opportunities, but I'm telling you, man, the fucking future is bright.
Yeah.
Today's show went into arguably the loudest stadium in NFL history. Still is, even without the Legion of Boom, even without Russell, even without Marshawn. It's just still loud as there's somebody in there. It's loud. Geno Smith had a hot hand, and we were able to neutralize him, and we're able to move the ball. Man, I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled.
Yeah. And you mentioned how loud that stadium is, and we're still able to come through that adversity. But with that loudness, the very first drive, I had written down here, taking a couple notes. Two false starts in that first drive, and weren't able to score there. But right after that, right off the bat, my man, gifted by my brother right here and wearing on my chest. J.C. Horn got an interception. Phenomenal coverage. Man, that is take. I let's just say I was able to produce another kid had there been a woman around. Um,
Drives high, man. Yeah.
man, I tell you, it got my rocks and socks off. I tell you that. And that coverage, man, and any corners out there that listen to this podcast, you go back and watch that play. Oh God, textbook, love it. LUV. And also I want to say LUVLUVU, and Frankie
Good
Luger
shit.
also went out there and did this thing, man. Um, and before we dive deep into, also want to say, um, I did see a thing on third downs, which we did a lot better today, and we'll dive into it more soon. For third, when we're on third down, our average yards to go is 5.3, which I think is like a league high. So we had to work on that a lot better today. Um, Also, we talked about CJ Henderson also with an interception today, and that was Geno Smith's first multi-interception game in 8 years. So hey, and today the corners played very well, which also used to be led by head coach Steve Wilkes, and it shows. So, man, just like Donnie said, hats off to Steve Wilkes, hats off to the team. They're playing for him. They may have thought that they were playing for Matt Rule. Oh, he's such a nice guy. Oh, he does. Oh, he just connects. Whatever. No, Steve Wilkes is the kind of guy that you need. Steve Wilkes is a leader of men, not boys. No offense to Matt. All the offense to Matt Rule because you got us in this shit. So fuck you. Excuse me. But
Oh, oh,
so, I don't like to cuss too much on here, but man, this is my team, man. This is our team. And we're very passionate about it. Hence, hey, the podcast, the DNA show. So let's dive into it real quick. What we saw on the field today. So on offense, total yards 328 yards. Our third down efficiency, like I said, we did a little better. 6 of 13 with that. Maybe just under 50%. That's probably at 47, between 47 46% pretty good for what we have been doing. 105 passing yards. Um, Sam Darnold took care of the ball. Didn't have these high passing yards number, but took care of the ball. Didn't turn it over. 223 rushing yards. That's where the rest of the yards went. And in the red zone, we were 3 5. Uh, and take a look at Sam Darnold. 14 to 24, 120 yards, and that's about 5 yards on average. I like to see that between the 7 and 10 range for my taste, for my own, um, not knowing anything self. um, so I like that a little bit higher, but at the end of the day, you see right below 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Didn't turn the ball over like he used to. Took care of the ball well. As Donnie brought up, it hasn't looked this good since Week 4 Dallas a year ago. Right. And hey, defense that stood out today. They allowed 287 yards total. 241 of those were passing. That was kind of in a later time, so yeah, that'll happen. 46 yards rushing only. Very good. 2 turnovers, and those 2 turnovers are both interceptions. One by JC, one by CJ. And Seattle Seahawks were 2 for 3 in the red zone. You may say, "Well, out of the 3 times, got in there 2 times." Yeah, but they didn't reach it. They only reached the red zone 3 times the entire game. So, and we walked away with a win. And the offense, like usual, was able to keep up with the defense there. So, and able to outscore. So, and back to us here, Donnie, man. After seeing all that, how Sam Darnold played, the running backs, how they played, man. Your thoughts on that in the future of this Carolina Panthers team?
so a lot of people will probably question our draft status and things like that, man. I mean, you see right now, you can win again. I mean, obviously you want a franchise quarterback, but I mean, it looks like Steve Wilkes' system. What he's trying to set up, man. We want to run the ball first, and we want to run the ball a lot. So we don't obviously need to air the ball out 300, 400 yards a game, which is
Yeah,
definitely rewarding because you want to punish and gash the defense up front. That's what we did today, man. I think we wore up on that Seahawks front really well. Um, Man, I'm just really, really pleased with. I've talked a lot of shit about Sam Darnold, and I mean, he's looked. Last 2 outings hasn't looked too bad. I've been tough on the kid because he's a first rounder, and
yeah,
um, he was taken in the same draft as Lamar Jackson. Obviously, we've seen what Lamar's done out in Baltimore. I love Lamar, so I always hold Sam to a higher standard than usual. So just he looked good today, man. He took good care of the ball, threw the ball away, didn't need to force anything.
yeah,
Um, like kind of like you said, we didn't see a lot through the air today, but I can live with that as long as we are moving the ball,
yeah.
moving the chain. That's really all you can ask for.
Right,
You don't
right.
need to have no play where you're mossing somebody. You don't need to have no play where you're hurdling somebody. I'll take a boring ass 5 yard carry game as long as that's what it takes to get to pay dirt.
Yeah, don't need
So
a greatest show on turf for nothing like that.
nah, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's appealing to the eye and it gets people's rocks off. Excuse my like phrases here, but like football is exciting. But at the end of the day, what makes football exciting? Winning. You can
Yes.
have 200 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Motherfucker lose by 20 points. How's that
Right,
exciting? You know what I'm saying? So
right.
uh, this team that we have in front of us, I've been saying it. I'll continue to be on that bridge, the hill, wherever the final scene of a video game or a movie. I'll be on that hill with the sword embedded. My words. This team isn't as far away as what people think. It's not. Not. We're not too far away, man. If we
We're
get
not.
just imagine what happens when Steve Wilkes has his own say about the staff. Imagine Steve Wilkes and Scott Fitter working together. You
Yeah.
don't need, you know what I'm saying,
They
air it
might
out
midway
all.
through the season.
That's what I'm saying. And to make
Yeah.
this adjustment, usually in situations like this, man, teams just blow up. They don't.
Yeah.
Okay, for instance, we saw Rick Bisaccia last year with the Raiders. Those dudes, I don't know what he did. I don't know. I didn't know much about him until I watched a little bit of the podcast, the Bustin' with the Boys podcast. Those guys play for him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Wilkes is a leader of men, and we have hit the jackpot as far as um, a true leader, man. Not no Matt Rule bullshit. He's selling wolf tickets out there in Nebraska. They ain't fucking. And I'll take it back if they do, but whatever. He sold us the same bullshit. He made me want to buy more Panther shit, even though I'd already buy it. But hey, listen, I bought it. Shit, it sounds good. He just said it. Shit, I'll buy it. Shit like that. So, but no, man. To answer your question about today, I'll stay on topic. Today, man, was fulfilling, and this is what true Panthers football should look like, and it's what it's
Yeah.
looked like when we've played some of our best ball and won some big time games. So,
Yeah.
complementary football is the most important, meaningful way of playing football you can play. When the
Yeah.
offense, defense, and vice versa, and then throwing special teams, bro, just it was rewarding, man. I finally laid back at peace today. I'm uncertain of what's going to happen in the near future as far as like this season. Not sure if we'll make the playoffs or not. It's going to be pretty tough due to that son of a bitch Matt Rule. He's put us on, and excuse my French, man. I'm very passionate about this stuff, man. I'm very passionate. But we start out on thin ice, and the splinter in the hand was just sitting there. Oh, I'm scared to take it out. I'm scared to take it out. Wait, it's gonna hurt. When we finally take it out, it's almost too late.
Yeah.
Not too late as far as like a morale standpoint, but too late for us to play in meaningful games because we decided to keep on the Matt Rule. But obviously, you see what happens when you put in a true leader and a true football
Yeah.
mind to lead people to win football games to play together. I love it, man. I love
Yeah. Same.
it. Love it.
What was Steve Wilkes' first game that he coached? Do you remember?
The Los Angeles Rams, and that was it was Los Angeles Rams, and that was his first game, and that was the first game PJ Walker started. Because that was shortly after because he was fired. Matt Rule was fired after the Arizona game. Pretty sure, but
Okay.
I kind of saw was one of our identity to be. If you look at it, and forgive me, I don't mean to go off on a tangent. If you look at that Rams game, and compare it to today's game, now I'll see what Steve Wilkes was trying to do, but
Yeah.
he couldn't do it. A fresh team that was fired, not a fresh team, but you know what I'm saying, a team that was fresh off of firing, trying
Yeah.
to learn a whole new foundation. But man, man. He's ever since the game after the Rams game, it seems like this team's played with so much more tenacity and so much more passion, bro. I love
For
it.
sure. That's what I was just looking at because I couldn't remember what game it was that he took over. But under Steve Wilkes, we are 4-4, just like that. Already better than Matt Rule. Half a season, half a team, and I don't mean talent wise. I just mean, like you said, the firing and the moving around and all the pieces. That's a brand new team. People don't realize, man. In the NFL, when you have to do that kind of thing, move things around, new playbooks, new coach, and new way to do things. Anyone who played sports in high school, imagine that you could almost. I remember in high school when I played, and when you played sports in high school as well, Donnie. You could, if the coach could quiz you on, okay, well, after we do this stretch, then what do we do? Then what do we do? You could tell them like that. But if something comes in and all that changes, it's like, whoa, it throws you off. And I'm talking at the elite level. So, but now also I want you to talk about and address now. What do you people say about tanking? That's still on your mind? That's still you still want to ring that bell? You still want to go down that path? You still want to give up and tank like you probably have in your life? You're probably giving up. I'm throwing the white flag. It's over. No, that's not what this team's about, man. That's not what keep pounding is all about. That's not what Steve Wilkes is about. That's not what I'm gonna say it. It looked like today. It's not what Sam Darnold's about. It's not what that defense is about. It's not what we're about. So speak on that, Donnie, man. It still tank? Yes or no?
So I'm a firm believer. The right pick will always be there.
Yeah.
Listen, man, who would have ever thought? You know, for instance, man, Kansas City they picked up a stud. I think he's like a guard or tackle. His last name's Smith. He's on their offensive line. He was like a 6th or 7th rounder. Who would have ever thought that dude would turn out to be a franchise piece on the offensive line? Or
Yeah.
who ever thought Thomas Patrick Brady would end up being the greatest thing to happen?
Right.
Brown in the 6th round, or Jimmy Garoppolo. No one knew who Jimmy Garoppolo was when he was drafted. Drew Brees, smaller quarterback. It all comes down just to doing your homework. I know the right pick will be there,
Mm.
and it doesn't need to be Heisman winner. It doesn't need to be the number 1 overall. In passing the college legend. It doesn't need to be anything like that. It just needs to be someone who can embody our culture.
Right.
Like Cameron Newton did, being an underdog in his life, and having one setback that people bashed him for most of his life until he got to the big stage, and was able to right his wrongs in people's eyes. And I mean, let's face it, the guy was booed. I mean, the guy was booed, and he was put through it all. Jake Delhomme, no one knew who Jake Delhomme was. You don't need the
Peyton Manning.
that.
Make the long remember that in the DVD.
Yeah, it's like you want guys like that, but you know what? At the end of the day, we drafted well, we drafted a guy like Cameron Jerome Newton who had a dog mentality. He
Yeah.
kept pounding. If you look at his life, usually when something like that happens, especially back in those days, if you got caught with pot back in those days, man, you were probably a fucking convicted felon in the public's eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But him kept pounding because he had to go through community college again. Then he had to find a way to get to Auburn. Had to work his way through Auburn. Ended up he kept pounding, won a national championship, got drafted number 1, took his team to a Super Bowl. We want guys like that in Carolina. I don't need no Spencer Rattler. I don't need these prima donnas. I want someone that's going to keep pounding. Something that Steve Wilkes has already shown, and that's the difference between Matt Rule and Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
Steve Wilkes keeps pounding. He's not afraid. Listen, guess what? That fake punt play a few weeks ago. Everybody's like, oh, he's got a lot of guts to do something like that. I remember us getting it and converting it. He just smiled.
Yeah.
He just went. You want to play for somebody like that. And
Yeah.
as far as thinking goes, man, listen. I think I've said it 2 or 3 times on some of our podcasts. At times bad things happen to good people, but man, like good things also happen to good people, especially people who wait. Good things will
Right.
happen to you.
Yeah.
And I think Carolina's about to hit. I do think Jesus Christ himself is going to bless us fans with an opportunity to get back into the winning culture. I mean, you look at it now. Like I said, who would have ever thought Sam Darnold would have right the wrong? So tanking has never been something I've been fond of because,
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, my mom, my dad, I'm sure your parents would have never said, "Hey, I want you to go to work. I want you to try a little bit, not hard, just try a little bit.
Yeah.
And if it out, at least you can say you tried a little bit." Or you go to school. For instance, that's like telling I don't know, like a driver, hey, just drive a little bit competent, okay? And if a wreck happens, listen, either you're at fault or someone else is at fault. If that makes sense, that's just kind of what you can't put half-assed effort in life and expect big time rewards.
Well
The
said.
people who put the grind, good things happen. So I understand on the draft boards we may be shooting up. If anyone should have been talking about taking it, should have been the Lions, and those motherfuckers are 6-7 now,
Mm.
as well.
Yeah.
So they'll end up getting their future. Not every problem is going to be solved with that first 10 picks. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just kind of probably wasn't the most witty answer out there, but I just
No.
if
No.
you're
It was well
a
said,
stitch,
sir.
you're gonna have that stitched in here. You gotta embody it, man. You can't just put on a uniform and take a picture and say I play for Carolina Panthers. Gotta embody that shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Um. Man, I tell you that it's we've been saying it. Brighter days are ahead for Carolina. You believe it. I believe it. The true Panther fans believe it. Um, may not work out this season. I can already see it. You know, if we don't make the playoffs or we're just short of it, or we do make it and don't win the Super Bowl, it's hell to pay with some fans. It's like, no man, nobody would have thought that we were going to be in this position this year.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's already given it to us about the whole Baker Mayfield thing. It, Don, I'm gonna use your words, like you said. Oh yeah, he'll screw up eventually. He'll have his day. The old Baker Mayfield will show up here soon. So don't get too excited out there in Los Angeles. So, and I believe that too. Yeah. And like I told you, I said we don't have any tape on him. We have no tape in that system for Baker. So um, when a player leaves like that, when I'm talking about Cam or Thomas Davis or Luke Keeley, I'm talking about a one and done guy who didn't really help us anyway. Let him be. Let him be. It's okay. So but yeah, man, very happy with today's performance to wrap it all up, man. So, final thoughts. So next week we got Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, they played Baltimore today. I was able to watch that game, and I'm confident against them. I'm confident for the rest of the year. If we win out, the Carolina Panthers will have a winning record, maybe a playoff spot, probably a playoff spot, and maybe division champions. Uh, it is not impossible. Impossible. It's not impossible. It is very possible. So that's why you keep pounding. So, your final thoughts on today's performance and the future of this team?
There's a lot to like in Carolina, man, and I don't think we have to look far for our coach.
Mm-mm.
Um, don't have to look far. Some people have to go through a lot of interviews. What interviews do we have to do? I think the answer's there. I think Steve. I mean, he's working with pieces he didn't even bring here, and he
Yeah,
actually lost people. He lost Christian McCaffrey. He lost Robbie Anderson. Um, I don't even want to count Baker Mayfield, but he didn't even get to choose his quarterback, let alone. So
it's true.
he's making it guys that not a lot of people know about, and that's what I like about him. And most importantly, man, just that he just embodies the culture, and this team is embodying that keep pounding culture. You know, each year you get a fresh set of faces, and the roster gets a bit younger. You know, especially this team, we're a very young football team, so seems like these guys around the mid 20s, late 20 ages have already bought into it, and we got it here. Just pick smart and just continue to play hard. I mean, what do you have to lose? I can live with um, playing my heart out. A prime example: if anyone's ever bored, if anyone's a football minded person, please watch Buda Baker from the Arizona Cardinals. I would kill for that guy to be in the Carolina Panthers uniform because that motherfucker keeps pounding. 5'9", maybe 5'10". He does it all the right way. He fusses out his players when he doesn't feel like the intensity is being met.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have some players like that, like a Jeremy Chin, like a Frankie Louvu, like a J.C. Horn, you
Yes.
know, like a Raheem Blackshear, like a Deontay Foreman,
Yeah.
DJ Moore, even very quiet today. Brian Burns, may the list go on. Derek Brown. So what I'm saying is that this is if Steve Wilks could do this with a roster he didn't even assemble himself. Just imagine what happens when he gets more guys in here that
Yeah.
have already that he can build that into. So there's a lot to like. Again, I'll say it until the cows come home. We're not that far away. I've been patient for 5 seasons, okay, and I can already see a significant, a substantial growth from 7 to 9 weeks ago all the way to this current point. I'm okay with this. I'm okay if we don't make the playoffs because I do know that the future is bright. Would I love to make the playoffs? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lots of love. I mean, A plus today. A plus answered all the doubts. So extremely happy.
Yeah. 400% agree with everything, sir. Um, thank you, Steve Wilkes from the DNA Show, for doing what you do for this team, man. And we hope to see you signed on next year. We hope you are leading this team next year, man. Even if they decide not to go with you at head coach, which we think they should. Um, I hope you stay on this team somewhere. So you belong in Charlotte. You belong in Carolina. You are a North Carolinian at heart and literally born here and raised here.
Yeah.
So you belong here. Um,
He is Charlotte.
he is Charlotte. Very well put. Yes. So and the last you talk about keep pounding the guys that is what we embody and that's who we are. Me and Donnie talk about this all the time, and every time me and Donnie watch this clip, chills run through our body. A tear nearly comes to our ass, and the adrenaline pump through the roof. We've always said that outside NFC South, our biggest out of division rival is probably the Seattle Seahawks. We have just had some wars with that team in that city. Even today, a war. Um, Cam Newton watching that team come out. You explain it way better than me, Donnie. I'm gonna give you the floor on this one. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Man, tell the people
Yeah,
about that.
Cam's had this tradition where he would be the only player from the away team on the field. So all of our players would be on the sideline. And these players will be introduced, and Cam's just walking side to side, kind of eyeing them down. And I'll never forget just seeing it. We were playing them in a playoffs game. I know if we do have any trolls, I hope not. But with life, there comes haters and trolls. Oh, y'all lost that game. This is the year we went 7-8-1, but I'll never forget Cam staring every single player down while the fire was coming up. And I just thought it was the most badass thing. He was stretching. He was like, "This is my field until you can get me off this motherfucker."
Right,
And they did. But you know what? They made him get off the field because guess what? He wanted he wanted to give him what he needed to play practically. So I mean, I love that. He ain't scared.
yeah,
He's not backing down pass. And man, that was my favorite tradition from Cam. And there would be times in New Orleans, the dome would get really dark when the lights were out, and the fire pyro would go off. Man, and Cam's just sitting there, just staring at him, just like I ain't scared of you. Like shit,
right,
this is my team. These are my guys. You know, if you beat
right.
me, you beat. Just like the
Yeah,
celebrating in the end zone. Hey, if you want me out of the end zone, keep me out of there. If you don't want
right,
me dancing, hey, respect is is earned not given, and that's how Cam was. He was like, hey, this is my field until you can show me that this isn't my field.
yeah,
So,
right.
which to me is his field. I mean, motherfuckers come there to
To beat a man, you got to beat the man, and yeah, that's what we admire. It's not even at the end of the day. Yeah,
right.
if you say even if you do lose, man, you went in there and you stood death in the face and said, "Yeah, I walked through the shadow of death. I fear no evil." Just also similar to this guy over my left shoulder. I got a picture of Conor McGregor in my office here at home, and didn't back down, never backs down kind of guy. So, but hey, man, Carolina Panthers winning again, first time in 13 games first time in 13 away games that we've won one, and it was against the Seattle Seahawks, who we always have war with. They kept pounding. We're going to keep pounding. We want you Panther fans out there to keep pounding. Next week, Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll we'll be here to talk about that game as well. The week after that, Detroit Lions. Half of the DNA show will be there. Diamond go out there and gonna watch those boys go to work against Detroit. And the four brothers out of Detroit. Um, and hey, we'll be here. No matter what, we're gonna keep pounding, man. So as always, future is bright. And from the DNA show, as always, tell them, sir,
Gotta keep pounding, baby. Let's go.
keep pounding. See you again against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go Panthers.